Yes, in today's video, we're going to be discussing the Magic Johnson versus Steph Curry debate, as we are talking about the top 5 point guards in NBA history, in my personal opinion. We all have our own opinions. We're all entitled to our own, but this is just my top 5, and I do have honorable mentions. But yeah, I'm getting right into it. The first honorable mention I have is Russell Westbrook. Don't let his new narrative fool you. He is, in fact, one of the top point guards of all time. I mean, he would be top 10, but we're only doing top 5 since we don't got time for a top 10. And then the second one is all-time leader in assists, John Stockton. Even though I'm not a fan, he's the leader in assists. What am I going to say about it? Then I also have Damian Lillard. If he wins a ring, I think he will have a case to be a top 5 point guard all time. Especially if the Bucks win 1 or 2 rings. And then Jason Kidd, again, I'm not a fan of him, but he makes it in. And lastly, Kyrie Irving, who barely makes it in. I personally don't think you can deny Kyrie's talent as a basketball player, so I personally have to have him as an honorable mention at minimum. And then the two players that just missed the cut are Walt Frazier and Derrick Rose. Sorry to those two players, but they just missed the cut. At 5, we have a lot of bias influencing this decision and this statement, but it's Chris Paul, my favorite player of all time. I will admit this is fully biased, but it is my top 5 point guard, so I'm allowed to put him here. I can totally accept you switching them with somebody that I honorable mentioned, but in my personal opinion, I think you look at CP3 in his career, and yes, I know he hasn't won a ring, but let me go through my list of honorable mentions. The only player out of all the players I mentioned, besides Walt Frazier, all the honorable mentions, I should say, Jason Kidd, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, John Stockton, and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's the only one that's won a ring. So I can't hold that against Chris Paul because those players didn't win one either. And if you look at Chris Paul's impact, every team he goes to gets significantly better in the regular season. Can't say that about all these other players. And you also can't say that, oh, he can't win in the playoffs because those players didn't win either. So really, the only players you can justify having from those players that I've mentioned are Kyrie Irving and Walt Frazier. And I don't think anyone's going to argue that. So that's just my personal opinion, and that's why Chris Paul's 5. Number 4 is the guy that was Mr. Triple-Double before Russell Westbrook, and that's Oscar Robertson. I don't think Russell Westbrook's done enough to say that he's better than Oscar Robertson. I think Oscar Robertson is one of the forgotten greats in the NBA. His only championships came when he played with Kareem on the Bucks. However, if you look at his stats, see, I've done research. I've been doing research. I'm trying to make the best list possible with little to no bias. I mean, there is obviously bias. Chris Paul's 5. But anyways, his stats, let me read them. Before he was on the Bucks, the Big O averaged 29.7 points a game in the postseason, along with 9.4 assists a game and 9.3 rebounds a game. And that was his stats without Kareem. And that's playoff stats, not regular season. Playoffs. Let's be honest. We more care about playoffs here. That's why I can't put Chris Paul over a lot of these players. But Oscar Robertson is literally so much better than anybody has ever given credit for. I think he's definitively top 15 of all time. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, he's the 4th best point guard of all time, in my personal opinion. We go from a forgotten legend to a disrespected NBA legend, and that's Isaiah Thomas, not the 5'8" one, the bad boy Pistons leader, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan's worst nightmare. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say worst nightmare, but they're beefing. It's a shame. It's sad, but let's just be honest. Isaiah Thomas is one of the best leaders. And when you look at leaders, when you look at point guards, the best point guards of all time are the best leaders. And he led the bad boy Pistons to multiple championships. And what people don't understand, now you probably heard it before, but I want to reiterate it. Isaiah Thomas could score 30 points in a game, or he could have 15 assists in a game. He did both of those things 95 plus times. He could do one of those things either night, and he would fry his opponents. There's not that many players in NBA history that can give you 30 or 15 a night. And I just can't fathom not having him as a top 3-point guard. I think it's undoubtedly the case. He's a top 3-point guard all time. He is better than Oscar Robertson, Chris Paul, all the honorable mentions. It's not even close. The only two players he's not better than are Magic Johnson and Steph Curry. And yeah, I think I want to reiterate it again though. He can give you 30 a night, or he could give you 15 in another night. But he's also a leader. Point guards, they need to score sometimes. It's not mandatory. They need to pass the ball. That is mandatory. 15 assists on any given night. I mean, sign me up. And then you look at the leadership. The best point guards are leaders. 3 biggest factors for point guards. Isaiah Thomas excels in all 3 of them. Top 3 point guard. The moment has finally come. Steph Curry or Magic Johnson? Who's going to be 2 and who's going to be 1? I know Steph Curry made a huge impact on the game, right? But what he's done for 3-point shooting, Magic Johnson has done for playmaking. Because no one really making flashy passes before Magic Johnson, and now everyone is. So I know if Flight Reacts is watching this, I know you can say Curry changed the game, but so did Magic Johnson. And now I want to look. I'm not gonna show it directly, but actually I might. We'll see when I'm editing it. But if you compare the career, Steph Curry's going into his 14th season, I believe. So in 13 seasons and Magic Johnson's 13 years, you compare their careers side by side. Magic Johnson has an exponentially better basketball career. It's not close in my eyes. That's my personal opinion. Sure, Curry has more scoring titles, but Magic Johnson's a better passer, better rebounder, better defender, better playmaker, better at everything else other than scoring. So you look at that, then you look at the resume. His resume is way better through 13 years. So I honestly don't think it's that close. And I don't mean to bash on Steph Curry at all. I think he's going to have a case to be a top 10 player in NBA history when it's all said and done. But I don't see how he's surpassed Magic yet. I really don't. And that's why I have Steph Curry at number 2 and Magic Johnson at number 1. Steph Curry has had won the first unanimous MVP, I'm pretty sure, right? 2016, that was unanimous, first one. Either way, it was unanimous. But regardless, sorry, I know I'm talking, but like, this is real basketball talk. Like, this is just pure knowledge coming out of my head. Like, I'm not doing research as I'm typing it. But anyways, Steph Curry's he's the only person that's in the NBA right now that could pass Magic Johnson as the best point guard. Steph Curry is Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a case to be better. Now, if he wins 2 more rings, 2 more finals MVPs, then we can talk. Magic Johnson said it himself. If Curry has 5 rings, 5 finals MVPs, blah, 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 you know the story. So, like, there's a way that Curry can pass Magic Johnson, and his career's not done. So I'm not saying that he'll never pass him. I'm just saying as of right now, he's not. And then, yes, Magic Johnson's obviously number 1. And yeah, that will conclude this video and list. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I come out with the shooting guards. We already know 1 and 2, but 3, 4, and 5 are very controversial. So let's see what happens. But yeah, this is the beginning of a 6-part series, concluding with my top 10 players of all time. And it's my personal opinion. So you're allowed to have your own personal opinions. I'm allowed to have mine. But I do hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. Bye. I used one special feature to re-rank ESPN's terrible top 100 NBA player list. So if you're curious to see how I did it, click on this video right here and don't forget to subscribe.